And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Women of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we are dabbling through figuring out monogamy. Would it work if the man was more masculine? Let's delve deeply into this subject. Let me look at it from this standpoint of attraction. The attraction comes from a man being powerful, okay? So if a man has power, and power means the ability to do, as defined on Google or wherever you want to look, the ability to do. Does the man have the ability to do in monogamy? And ability to do what? Well, to have that attraction level so that his woman looks to him as the one who has the power in the relationship, which means that he is superior to her in the relationship. If there's equality or egalitarianism in the relationship, there's not going to be much attraction, which means that the relationship is not really going to work out very well. They might stick it out for life, but there's no attraction there, so that doesn't work very well. Okay, they're both basically living desperate lives or trying to look outside to find if they can find anyone. They either find someone outside or they didn't, and they're just basically staying in the relationship miserably. Okay, it's kind of those two options. In my opinion, monogamy is just extremely difficult from all different parties, and we're going to explain that thoroughly in this video, trust me. The definition for masculinity on our channel is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors despite circumstance. So the circumstance here is monogamy that we're discussing. Is a man able to control his thoughts, emotions, and behaviors independent of monogamy? Because monogamy is going to crush him. What is it that actually makes him a man, makes him powerful, makes him superior in the relationship? It's his testosterone hormone. Okay, women have a massive amount of estrogen. Men have a massive amount of testosterone. We're talking men have 10 to 12 times more testosterone than women. And that's a good thing. The more testosterone a man has, the more manly he'll be. The more power he's going to have. The more he's going to be competitive. The more he's going to achieve his goals. The more he's going to produce results in a relationship. That's fantastic. The more estrogen a man has, it creates a distorted balance in his hormones, which causes his testosterone to not be present anymore, okay? Or on massive decline. We would like for him to be rational, logical, kind of like a mathematical engineering type of brain. That's manly, okay? That's masculine. Boring and mundane. If a man is supposed to be consistent, because consistency is what creates exponential growth in every single endeavor that he has, in order for him to achieve his goals, he needs to be consistent. Consistency, by definition almost, is something that is boring and mundane because it's doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. It gets kind of boring and mundane, but men actually are okay with that process because they don't care as long as they get the end result that they want. And then you've got the other aspects of masculinity. I'm just kind of describing that whole thing here. Discipline and forcing oneself to do something that he does not feel like doing. Having a very high specific standard meaning of himself, meaning also he rejects himself. And then not caring so that he's able to prioritize and deprioritize the things that need to be put away so that he can actually do the things that need to get done, etc. If you look at all of these, some of these are okay to have a little bit of in the family. But the vast majority of the time, you would want a man to have these kind of qualities outside of the home. Inside of the home is governed by emotion. We're talking about a woman here, and we're talking about kids. Okay, so for a man to always be rational and logical and be boring and mundane and have discipline and massive focus and competitiveness, etc., in a homely environment is not really conducive for nurturing, for children. If we're talking now about the estrogen side, the other side of the the spectrum, so to speak, in the home, this is how it looks like if a man has massive amounts of estrogen because he's now the woman in the relationship. He will have an emotional side. He's going to be creative. He's going to have spontaneous side. He's going to, like entertainment, etc. He's going to have a nurturing side, a loving side, caring side, social side. He's going to be more bubbly, etc. What does this all have to do with monogamy? The goal is to get the man to be as masculine as possible, right? We said in the beginning, this is the title of the video, would monogamy work if the man was more masculine? Okay, so the more masculine a man is, of course, the better his relationship is going to be with the woman. For sure. Absolutely. But the problem is that monogamy literally funnels and directs a man and forces him towards the direction of estrogen and femininity. Like monogamy itself, the marriage itself, family life itself moves him towards estrogen. There's like a massive force, which are your emotions as a woman, pulls him, okay, and pushes him in that direction. So that is a problem though, because you wanted him to be as masculine as possible, right? So again, going back to the title, would monogamy work if the man was more masculine? Monogamy literally makes him feminine. So it doesn't matter how much a man is masculine in the beginning of the relationship or even during the monogamous marriage. He's going to move drastically towards femininity exponentially over time. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to stay in his masculinity. There are some men that manage to keep that up continuously, but the woman pays a heavy price as a natural result. And let me get into that. In order for us to understand all of this and how this works, we need to look at women's responsibilities in the home. And I've divided it up in four parts. You've got social, which is the nurturing side, as femininity in the home. Will make sure that the relationships are nurtured, that everyone's taken care of, that everyone's emotional needs are met, to make sure family is, reached out to once in a while and invited over and partying and organizing the social aspects, events, blah, blah, blah. It's feminine to do all that type of stuff, okay? And also making sure that if someone cries, that they're comforted. And do you get what I'm saying? All of this is part of the social nurturing side of things, and it is the responsibility of femininity. Now, you might call it responsibility. I kind of want to make that a point in this video when we're talking about responsibility, because men naturally gravitate towards competition and producing resources and providing and protecting for their family. We do it naturally. You don't have to even tell us that it's our responsibility once we understand how things work. And if we actually want a family and we want kids and we want to have women, etc. Like, okay, that's what's needed in order for me to make it work and to maintain a good family lifestyle. Let me go and do. Like, I don't have a problem with taking on that responsibility because it's not even responsibility. Like, for me, it's a joy and a pleasure to do what needs to get done for this family to work out. Okay? Once you are, doing that, and then you're not receiving the gratitude and the enjoyment from the family from you actually slaving away doing that responsibility that in the first place wasn't really a big deal, now it becomes drudgery. Now it becomes a problem to go out there and get the resources because no one's thankful or grateful anyway, and I'm not, and you end up living your life, kind of in a desperate fashion for the rest of your life very often because of this, because of monogamy, okay? And as a woman, for you, responsibilities is not a big deal as long as people are grateful for it and you're highly valued as a result of you doing what you're supposed to do. The problem happens when everyone's ungrateful and they're just putting massive amounts of burden on top of your plate and you can't handle it all and you get issues as a result, and then now it's just massive negativity, and now you don't want to take care of those burdens. Now it becomes a duty and a responsibility that you didn't understand in the first place when you got involved, okay? So it's kind of like once you get burdened by family life, it's great. It gives you joy and happiness sometimes, but a lot of the time it's just massive amounts of hard work, and you end up ripping your hairs out very often. Okay, that type of thing. Okay, so, but that was the first aspect, the social and the nurturing thing. We'll call it responsibility now that I've explained what it means. Okay, so the second responsibility is the aspect of taking care of kids. Okay, you've got the social, but then you also have the aspect of making sure that they're fed well. Okay, preferably the meals should be made from scratch, like, because you know how to cook and you cook well, and so you want your kids to be healthy, you want yourself to be healthy, you want your man to be healthy. Okay, so you cook from scratch, and you do that breakfast, lunch, dinner, and evening food, right? Evening snack, whatever it is, 4 meals or 5 meals a day, whatever you want to call it. That's what needs to get done. Okay, so we got to do that. Taking care of them in terms of like activities, if they want to do activities and things like that. Dressed well. You got to do laundry. Obviously, clothes need to be ready. It needs to be folded. It needs to be put away. You know, everything needs to be organized, and that's so no one comes all the time saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, where are my socks? Mommy, 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 where are my?" Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if everything's organized and in its place, then people can kind of, there's a system to all of this madness. So I'm explaining to you right now. You don't understand why I'm explaining would monogamy work if the man was more masculine. I'm getting to it. Okay, this is important stuff. Now the system is in place for everyone to do what needs to get done because you've taken care of it as a woman, making sure that everything's organized, etc. Femininity's responsibility. Okay, that the kids are cleaned well, okay? It's very good if they have a bath once in a while, or if they have a shower once in a while, and kids hate doing that stuff. Unless you've created a system and an environment where it's conducive for them to have fun doing that, okay? Normally they don't want to. Right? So, but if you know how to do it well, and you've organized in a systemized manner and in a way that they attach positive things to it, then they'll actually go ahead and do it. Okay, which is great. So, fed well, dressed well, cleaned well, taught well. Preferably, you should be homeschooling. Why on earth would you give over that responsibility to public officials called teachers in government schools? That is a horrible way to raise your kids. No offense. But it literally is, and this is what the vast majority of parents are doing these days. That's messed up, okay? Not only from the aspect of what they teach, which is messed up in and of itself, like the vast majority of things that they learn in school is just a bunch of hogwash, which is, it's like it has no purpose and no value whatsoever. Most of the information these days can be gotten from YouTube and from Google. Just typing in something, you got a question, you can figure it out. It's like, why go to school anymore? It has no purpose. It just takes away 17,000 hours of children's youth. Do you get what I'm saying? That's messed up. When they can just simply be homeschooled and be taught how to read, write, math, and all that stuff, and make sure that they understand, you know, parts of history. Not all history is true even, you know, and like this, there's a lot of stuff. If parents and obviously women would homeschool their kids, wow, this world would look completely different and better, I might add. Yes, of course, they need to delve deeper into subjects like technology and engineering and all that stuff so that they're able to create the big, amazing things that we have in the world. But in general, the basics, it's simple. It can be taught by anyone. Okay, another aspect is being played with and entertained well. This is all part of the responsibilities of femininity in the home. And guess what? We've only covered 2 of the categories of the 4 that I'm going to mention, which means that there's a lot on a woman's plate once she actually gets into a monogamous relationship, has a family with this dude, and then has kids, and then multiple kids. And very often, like, if a woman is religious, sometimes she gets like 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. I know families, specifically, personally, I know families that have like 12 kids. I'm the youngest of 8. Okay, so there's some mothers, one mother in that family that have actually managed to keep a ship going, floating somehow, and they grew up, and a lot of their lives are traumatized and difficult as a result. No, that's kind of what happens. But it's very often because the kids were neglected as a natural result of the woman not having capacity to do all this stuff. Okay? So, the next thing is the aspect of, well, I could say food. That's its own category. Although I said that the kids need to be fed well, food is like a massive category. You have to shop within a budget. You have to make sure that the kids are dragged with you through the grocery store. I'm getting to the masculine aspect soon. You have to make sure that what type of food you buy is healthy, etc., etc. Oh my gosh, there's so much that goes into that. And then you got to make it, which takes a long time, okay? And it's got to be healthy. And then you have to clean, or you have to serve it first, and then you have to clean every single time, and you're homeschooling them, so you're not putting this responsibility on the school cafeteria, or you're not putting this responsibility on your maid or anything else. You're doing this all of yourself, so you're literally cooking 4 or 5 times a day. Do you know how repetitive, boring, and mundane this becomes for one woman over time? It becomes messed up. Like, it's crazy what we're expecting mothers at home to do by themselves as one woman with multiple kids. It's absolutely horrific. It's like, and it's a loving thing. Like, this is the most wonderful job that needs to be performed because these kids are the next generation. If they're neglected and not taken care of properly, like, these are basic things. This is not like, oh my gosh, they're learning violin and they're going to ballet and all that stuff. This is like basic stuff. And it doesn't get done very often as a natural result of the woman just simply not having capacity. And the last one that I wanted to mention was taking care of the home. It's its own category. Because taking care of the home means that you need to make sure that it's clean. You need to make sure that it's furnished properly. That so you got to go shopping for those furnishings. You got to make sure that it's kind of nice and creates a warm atmosphere, and that it's tidied. And when people come in, they feel like they're at home. When friends come to visit their kid, the kids, that they have a nice time as well. Blah blah blah. You see, all of this. Okay, that was the 4 categories. All of this takes, and also the garden. Don't forget the garden. Very often neighbors and even the owner, if you're renting, is going to have a problem with how the garden looks like over time. Okay, so all of these 4 categories takes a lot of work, which if you're one woman will require a lot of discipline and focus and waking up early and making sure that everything's on point. It's going to require intense masculinity. In other words, intense controlling your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors independent of the circumstances that your family, your kids, your husband, and yourself create. You're going to suffer in monogamy, which is going to be great. I'm excited for you. No offense. But I'm just saying that, is it better to be single for the rest of your life and be lonely? No, obviously not. Check out the rest of my videos, subscribe on this channel, and understand how all of that works as well. But I'm saying that life is extremely difficult for a woman that homeschools her kids, and they are probably the most praiseworthy people on the planet. Suffering in silence very often, trying to do the best for their kids so that they can be raised up and be good citizens and hopefully take care of her in old age. Okay? Let's go back to the man. The man, he provides, goes to work, comes home, and then he wonders, why is it dirty? And why are the kids screaming? And why is there no food on the table? And why is this, that, and the other? This has been a common complaint amongst women for millennia, okay? And men would be upset because he's tired after having been rejected all day, and now he wants to come home and relax. Like, literally relax. So a masculine man would be looking at the situation, he'd be like, dang, I kind of need to help out. Like, I rationally can understand that she's been suffering all day, okay? There are men that don't understand this, that don't see the big picture, but that's feminine as well. It's ignorance, right? To ask such a question to your wife when you come home and everything's messed up. as a masculine man, he'd understand that, holy crap, like it does require a lot to actually take care of business at home for my wife, and I've given her these kids. This is my responsibility for having put her in this circumstance and situation. So I need to help out, and I need to help out a lot. Now, most men don't do this. Maybe they'll try, but they'll just give a half-hearted effort, and then they'll want to relax and go to their man cave because the woman, she wants him to help out. Okay, and the woman is kind of torn. On the one side, she wants him to help out, but number two, she knows that if she does get him to help out, her attraction levels for him will decrease. Some studies have said that, if you help your wife out at home, then her burden is going to be taken away, and that causes her to be more sexually available and ready for you, blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, the fact that she's becoming more unburdened means that she's allowed to be more in her femininity. The more in her femininity she's allowed to be, the more she'll kind of look at her counterpart as masculine, right? But the problem is that the man, in order for her to be unburdened, he literally has to now go in and do these things. And those things that he's doing, in all four categories, are feminine responsibilities, feminine tasks that require estrogen, caring, loving, a spontaneous side, a creative side, an emotional side, etc., etc. All of these activities, if a man shares the responsibilities of he comes home tired from work and then he has to now put himself in his wife's shoes and literally do the things that the wife has been trying to do all day and suffering with, the woman now kind of wants to take a break. And the man is like doing his best, but he sucks at it. The woman has done this all day long. The man is home for 3 or 4 hours before the kids go to bed, maybe, perhaps, or 3 hours, whatever it is. And he'll suck at it. He'll try to do the laundry. He'll do a horrible job. So the woman's like, okay, don't touch the laundry. I'll do that. Okay, so he'll try to do the dishes. Maybe he does a good job. Or maybe he hates the dishes. So he's like, just not the dishes. I don't want to do the dishes. But she's like, but I really need you to do the dishes. And then it becomes fighting, right? And then cooking food. And he's like, all of these responsibilities, a man is like, it's not really for me. Like, you could kind of do that. And it ends up becoming this huge, massive fight on a continual, daily basis. Unless they learn to share roles. But the sharing of roles and responsibilities, feminine responsibilities, will end up making the man more and more feminine. Now, you could say there's two solutions to this that modern day families are using. Now, number one, they basically say, well, let's put the woman to work. So at work, okay? So it means that she can escape the kids, put the kids in kindergarten and school. Wonderful. I feel so unburdened right now. As a woman, you go to work, and guess what? You have social. So you get your nurturing aspect, the feminine thing going on. But your kids are the ones suffering. They're now neglected at school in a place where they don't want to be, which is kind of like a prison, to be honest. And then they're being taught stuff that you don't want them to learn from their friends, from their teacher, from everywhere, okay? They're being bullied a vast majority of the time, okay? Most kids are bullied. And some really cool kids, they manage to get ahead of that bullying and become the bullier. But that's also a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's so much stuff that happens in school that parents don't really take the time to figure out. Although they should just remember back how it was when they were in school and how messed up that was. Okay? I'm not saying that homeschooling is picture perfect these days because almost no one does homeschooling, which means that there's going to be issues and problems there as well because people are judging you for homeschooling and all that stuff, right? There's issues there as well. I'm not saying that it's picture perfect homeschooling. But in terms of raising your kids the right way, the way that you esteem your kids to become like, it's pretty good, okay? But hey, we've got a solution. Let's just neglect the kids, put them in school, and then go to work and have double income. Then we have more money. And then we can maybe hire a maid. And then we can maybe do different things and travel a little bit and blah, 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 and buy more stuff, okay? Which is not really what people need. What women need is time. Women need to have relaxation. Women need to be unburdened. Women need to be allowed to be feminine. And what we've done as a society is to make women masculine. Okay? We should literally let us make women feminine again. Okay? It's like a man's responsibility, but that's literally what men have done is we've made women masculine. This is men's fault. Feminism is always and will be men's fault. And men can also solve it because it's men's fault. Okay? But in general, that's the number one solution. The number two solution that very often more wealthy families come up with, if he's a masculine guy, right? He's providing and protecting. He'll be like, let's get a maid. Let's get a nanny. Okay, let's get an au pair. Great. Okay, I've been through all of those. What can I say? First of all, you don't want a man in your house. Okay, that's number one. So that's kind of out of the question. Oh, so you don't want a man to be cooking or to be a maid or to kind of be inside the house with you, right? So you'd rather, as a man, you'd want a woman to take care of those kind of things that you want your woman to take care of, right? But she can't handle it on her own, so we need a nanny, we need a maid, we need a chef, we need a chauffeur, we need a lot of different things, right? So as a rich man, that's what you do. You'd invest in people. So you begin the hiring process. Oh my gosh. Do you understand that women hardly ever get along with each other? I understand this, but we have a solution for that in 3 in Love, where the women actually blame the man, so they can actually be equal and enjoy each other's company all of the time. When you have a maid or a chef or a nanny or an au pair or something like that, the wife is superior and the other one is inferior. But the problem is that that's never gonna work. Okay, because the nanny and the maid, and yes, she's being paid, but at the same time, she's being bossed around, and a woman don't really like that. A woman is literally working a job. She's not supposed to be inside the home of another family. She has her own family to take care of. Why is she working there? Do you see what I'm saying? Like in a perfect society, we wouldn't need maids, we wouldn't need nannies, we wouldn't need people to come inside our house who are strangers and work with us, because we'd have all of those things, all of those needs fulfilled and met by our own family. You have the wife, and you have a maid, nanny, chef, whatever. The wife is going to be like, I want her to do it like this, specifically like this, okay? Nitpicking and all that stuff. Micromanagement from the wife's perspective because she wants her house the way she wants it. Okay, the worker, the employee is gonna hate that. Okay, so the fact that she hates that will cause her to have animosity and resentment towards the wife. She might have a good relationship with the man and sometimes too good relationship, but with the wife, she's not gonna like her very much. And so what ends up happening is that there's this tension going between them. And it creates escalation. So they're going to feel, oh, I don't like her, and then I don't like her, and I don't like her, I don't like her, and then they eventually maybe fight, or the maid or nanny just quits, and you have to replace her after having trained her so much. It's like intense how horrible that aspect is. To the point of even, you guys don't know him, but it's a very successful guy named Darren Hardy. He owns Success Magazine. He's the multi-gajillionaire, okay, millionaire. And he was explaining in a video that he made about how his wife needs help in the house. And so he was like, okay, we'll just pay for it. Well, I'll hire this, and this, and we'll have multiple people, working for us in the house. The wife refused. She's like, no, I want you to do it. Like, I want you specifically to do the task that I'm responsible for with me. Social. Because she doesn't want employees inside of her domain. There's a thing there going on, okay? If they were equal, wouldn't be so much problems. If they had harmony amongst them, wouldn't be problems. Okay? They would divide the roles and they would share the responsibilities equally, and it's not one person is lazing while the other one is doing something. Do you get what I'm saying? So, let's go back to the man and explain. Everything in monogamy is designed to give the man estrogen because the woman cannot fulfill all of her responsibilities, which become responsibilities, drudgery responsibilities over time. She can't handle it by herself, And she needs someone, she's designed and programmed to have other people do things with her. She's never supposed to be left behind. She's supposed to have equal counterparts, that have equal responsibilities, that are equal to her, that are adults like her, helping out to take care of this home, to take care of the kids, to take care of the food, and to take care of her. She needs nurturing too. And so she's hoping that the man will be able to fulfill these emotional needs, and it's flippin' impossible. Okay? How do you solve this? Monogamy doesn't work. It never has worked, it never will work, and it literally was governments in the past, literally 1,700 years ago approximately, where the Roman Empire caused monogamy to be the principal rule in their empire. Why do you think they instated this when that was not normal? Monogamy was never normalized in society, although a lot of people lived it, I'm sure. But there was a lot of men who had multiple women in their household. A lot, okay? And those were the men that became extremely powerful, and almost too powerful, because the governments didn't like men becoming too powerful, and for families to become too powerful, and for clans to develop communities of strong men with women that shared them, okay? So they basically installed the monogamous rule and made it law everywhere to make men weak. It's literally by design. And here we are asking questions. Well, wouldn't it work if the man was more masculine? Monogamy is designed to make the man more feminine because the woman cannot fulfill all the responsibilities that she was designed to fulfill on her own. She needs help from other women. It's always been like this. It always will be like this. And even with just 2 kids, a woman can't handle it. With 1 kid, okay, we're getting somewhere, but now she's bored, alone, with 1 kid at home, and she can't handle it for long term. The kid needs also equal counterparts, his or her age, approximately, if she's homeschooled, if he or she is homeschooled. So it's kind of like the alternative, okay, we got to put them in school. Or you need to have multiple kids. But then you delve into the burden problem of the woman, the mother, becoming more and more masculine, which makes her eventually sick, because we're going against nature, right? If a woman remains in her femininity, she's aligned with nature. If a man moves towards masculinity, he's aligned with nature. When we mess things up now, the woman now moving towards masculinity, we're killing each other right now, okay? That's what happens. The woman moves towards masculinity, she has a little step of death every single day that makes her sick, and eventually she'll die from it, an early grave. Okay? Not necessarily an early grave, but it way sooner than what was necessary. Okay? And the same thing with the man. The more feminine he becomes, the more he begins to do all of these responsibilities and nurture and do his estrogen type of thing, the more he dies because he's not living according to his potential as a man with massive amounts of testosterone. This is the problem with monogamy that people can't see and get an overview of. And the only reason why they're opposed to 3 in love or the system that we espouse is because, oh no, it's all about sex and it's all about this and that and the other, and it creates issues and I don't want to compete with other women, and I'm valuable enough in order for a man to only pick me. Like, how shallow understanding of family life that is. Like that literally I understand it because it comes from an emotional standpoint of like, oh no, I need him to myself because I don't want to feel like I'm not enough. As a monogamous woman, you will always feel that you're never enough. Never ever will you feel enough as a monogamous woman. It's impossible. Just simply from these things that I've just read up to you. Like the things that I've explained in this video today. In fact, 3 in Love allows you as a woman to feel fantastic all of the time, because it's no longer I and me anymore, which are masculine phrases, by the way, but it's us, it's together, it's we. Social. That allows you to finally tap into your true fullest potential as a woman, and that's what 3 in Love is designed to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you got a lot out of it. I'll see you guys in the next one.